Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now, I just wanted to check in, let you guys know I haven't forgotten about you. A lot has changed since I made my last video, but I hadn't had the chance to really touch on the Sussex Exit since that official date passed. I did talk about their farewell tour, but between then and now, I hadn't really talked about their exit or my feelings around that or even checking in. I hadn't had the chance to do that. Been very busy and just trying to take a step back with everything in terms of the quarantine. Surely you guys can understand, and I know you guys have had a lot on your plates as well. But first and foremost, official congratulations to Harry and Meghan, to their supporters. That means you, that means me, that means everybody who rooted for them to fly out of that cage they were in, because clearly they were in a cage, and it became clear very soon after they got married. It's been a long road from the royal wedding till now, and it hasn't even been 2 years since they got married. And Lord knows it's felt a lot longer than 2 years, but here we are. And there they are, free and away from those who seek to destroy their marriage. And they made it regardless, and I respect them for that completely. Now, if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you may have seen me tweet or post something to the effect that it's sad, it's still bittersweet. And I know I've told people not to be sad about it. And truthfully, I'm not really sad deep down, but I'm more just sad about the fact that, like I said, they have not even been married for 2 years. And yet it's come to this sort of extreme situation where they're not even doing royal duties part-time, which is originally what they wanted to do. They're having to completely turn away from being a senior royal because those that were in a position to protect them, to support them while they were working royals, showed them that even if they tried to step away just a little bit, they were going to be punished for it. And so if you're going to be punished for stepping back, but being in it completely is also a separate kind of punishment, then the easy decision is to walk away from it all. So I'm sure that was an easy decision for them. But to know that they didn't have to support, to know that the media just completely wanted them out. They didn't just want them out. They wanted them out as a last resort because they couldn't keep them from being together. And, people wanted her to leave without her husband. Right. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit of thinking this through. They wanted her to leave originally. They never wanted to get rid of Harry. They never wanted to lose Harry, rather. They wanted their Harry back in the same way that bigots over here wanted their country back when Barack Obama became president of the United States. So as long as Meghan was there on the forefront, because as long as she was there, she's going to be on the forefront because she was the most popular royal. I don't care what the U.gov polls say. It was her and Harry that people lined up to see, right? So that was a problem. People that worked under Diana when she was alive said that was a problem. And we see how it was a problem. So as long as Meghan was there, she was going to be a reminder to them that Harry would never settle for someone like them. And that goes for the people in the family as well as those critics who are just royal watchers. The people that find themselves under Harry and Meghan's Instagram comments. Harry would never settle for somebody like you. So Meghan, his wife, is a reminder of that. And you hate it. You really hate it. So, you literally hate to see it. And you make that known every opportunity you get. And I think people in the family made that known behind the scenes, which gave the media the green card to abuse them nonstop. And so that's why that worked. That's why some of the worst venom I say for the family, because they were a part of it. It'll be revealed at some point. It'll be revealed, but they were a part of it. But we've seen the fairy tale wedding. We've seen the world get to know Meghan and fall in love with them as a couple. Many people falling in love with Harry all over again, as we got to see different layers of him, both as a husband and as a father. And as the world was falling in love and the Sussex popularity quickly rose after their marriage, really before their marriage, but especially after their marriage, then we saw the angle that the press was going to take to destroy that popularity. Not yet realizing or wanting to believe that the family and or courtiers could have some involvement in the onslaught and the leaks that we saw happening day after day in the press. Well, after a while, it became clear to Harry and Meghan's supporters, that would be us, that Harry and Meghan could not trust blood members of their own families. And that includes Meghan's family too. They were some of the loudest in the beginning. And at every step, when they tried to secure and insulate themselves from the press, somehow there would be a leak or a lie or some kind of campaign against them. And this is all within like 3 months of them being married. Fast forward to Christmas of 2019, when they took a 6-week break from royal duties, which a lot happened between, the end of the Oceania tour and Christmas 2019. That was pretty much a whole year. That was a lot that happened. But Meghan was on a maternity leave for a good part of that year. Meghan was still pregnant for a good part of that year. She was out of the limelight, all kinds of things. I mean, it seemed like a whole decade, really, but it was really just the 1 year. But this is close to where we are now. So they took that 6-week break from royal duties, and I knew they weren't coming back in the same way. Not in the same way that they were before. And when they came back, which was shortly after New Year, when they made that announcement, I'm glad that they confirmed that. And I even said it on the podcast. I thought there is no way that they're going to have their first period of peace and quiet away from all of the drama, the source of the drama in their lives, right? Because they're not people who carry drama around with them. There's no way they're going to experience an extended amount of peace and quiet, the first period of peace and quiet in their marriage and in their family since their son was born, and then gonna want to give that up so easily. And neither should they. So we had the statement in January, the farewell tour in March, and the official freedom date of March 31st, where the Sussexes said essentially, our PR team is based out of New York. And so not even Buckingham Palace can say anything on our behalf. If it comes from Buckingham Palace, don't trust it. And that's that. Now, things must have been pretty toxic if Harry doesn't even trust BP to release statements about him and his family. Harry and Meghan is not even giving them an opportunity to speak on their behalf. Things must have been really bad, because this is an entity that's been speaking on Harry's behalf for his whole life. They said no more because we're good on it. And also in this time, they moved from California to Canada. And that makes me happy, primarily because Doria gets to spend quality time with her first grandchild. And she's really been the MVP in this whole thing. Shout out to all the mamas out there who trust that the children they raise can handle their business, which they could. But I mean, that's such a unique situation for anybody to be in. And it's probably something that only a handful of people in the world can relate to watch your child in an institution that just wants, a powerful institution at that just essentially wants to eat her alive. And you're an ocean and a continent in a way. So shout out to Mama Doria for keeping her cool and having as much grace and dignity as we know is in her, and strength to be able to just patiently know that her child and her son-in-law were going to handle things. because that's a weight off of her shoulders. And that's what the Queen deserves. She's Archie's one living grandmother, his maternal grandmother at that. So Queen deserves to have her children and grandchildren right up under her if that's exactly what she wants them to be. And that's what they're going to be. You know, Harry doesn't have his mother, in part thanks to this institution that they ran away from, you know, that didn't protect them, just like they didn't protect her. He has a mother-in-law. That's all he has. His own family and Meghan's family that she trusts, which is rooted in her mother. So I'm just really glad for Queen Doria, the Queen, that she can have her family now near her without having to worry, without having to hop on a flight, without having to see her name in the paper and all of that. I mean, she really kept it moving. Through all of it, she kept it moving. She didn't quit her job. She didn't move to England. She didn't sell her house. She didn't do anything differently. She just waited on her child to get fed up with that nightmare people were trying to convince her was a fairy tale. And the patience paid off. Shout out to Queen Doria. And so just to pivot, now we finally get to see what post-Sussex royal swag is going to look like. And get ready, because 2020 is still sort of just getting started. I mean, why do I feel like I'm already in like 2050? But there's still a lot to come. There's still a lot to unfold. Yes, we know the Invictus Games were already canceled. Good on Harry for canceling that. There's always next year. Heck, even the Olympics was pushed back. So we're all just taking a moment, right? But I'm so glad that Harry and Meghan are also taking a moment. They needed that, and they needed time to do it with no pressure. You know, they've had so many life changes in such a short amount of time that it's just time for them to just stop and take a minute, you know. So it just happened to coincide with the quarantine and the lockdown and the unfortunate events of the COVID-19 saga that we're all living through. But let's talk about their exit from Instagram. In the lead up, we saw the Sussexes make an announcement about, you know, what they were focusing on at the time, saying in reference to the COVID-19 crisis that we will focus on the inspiring stories of how so many of you from around the world are connecting in ways big and small to lift us all up. That's a quote. They posted the letter from the Queen about COVID-19. They posted uplifting messages about how people may be handling their time in isolation, referencing women trapped in quarantine and lockdown and isolation with their abusers. And, you know, they posted things from the World Health Organization, like recommendations and things like that. And each time, do you know what happened in the comments? Vile hatred, petty criticisms, nitpicking, and the like. And so before they posted their final Sussex royal post, which was basically a thank you to their supporters, they said, you know what? It's about time we made these monsters lose their heads once and for all. And what did they do? They turned off all the comments. Not just the comment on the final post, the comment from the first post and everything in between. And do you know I cackled? Do you know that gave me life that day? You know, because they must have known that their haters were waiting on March 31st because they know they were going to post something. We all knew they were going to post something, but they were waiting for their last post just so they can post their last vile tirades, and they didn't even get a chance to. And that made me so proud because Harry and Meghan, they didn't even give y'all the satisfaction. And I know you listening too. They didn't give you the satisfaction. Oh, girl, and you were salivating over it. But don't cry, girl, because you still got Kensington Palace. You still got that IG, girl. You got all the IGs. Because Harry and Meghan don't even want it no more. They said, here go y'all IG back. We good on it. We don't care about these little follower numbers that people keeping track of. And I'm guilty, by the way. Now, truthfully, we don't know that they're going to completely abandon the account and the followers, because you can change your name, the Instagram name, as soon as you want, however you want, as often as you want. But I really hope that they don't use that, because it never defined them in the first place. Meghan built her own Instagram following for years. She cultivated a community for years, right? Before she even met Harry. It's just an Instagram. So I hope people don't view it as, oh, well, they abandoned their Instagram followers. No, they didn't abandon us. They disassociated themselves from the narrative that Instagram was tied to, inextricably linked to. So for that, I'm so glad. And that strength comes from knowing what you stand on, knowing who you are, knowing that your message is strong and there's not an insecure bone to be found in their bodies behind leaving 11 point however many million followers. Do you know who would be hanging on to those followers for dear life? You already know their names. I don't have to mention them here. Now they hanging on to their bots, I guess, but Harry and Meghan don't need it. They're on to bigger ideas. But do you know what KP did after Harry and Meghan officially stepped down as senior royals on May 31st? They went and snatched up Harry and Meghan's former social media manager, David Watkins. Sloppy seconds indeed. And no disrespect to David, because you got to do what you got to do. A job is a job, and and I'll talk about that in another video, but the man's got to work, and I'm sure he has quite a desirable resume. But if you thought KP was going to have shame or originality after Harry and Meghan left, you better guess again, because they're taking all of the Sussex scraps that they can get. And we know why. It's because they still don't know how to be modern royals. Not on their own. They needed a roadmap. It literally took Harry and Meghan's example to give Cain and Abel a roadmap for success as royals in the new millennium. And somehow they're still failing at it. Primarily because they're trying to be Harry and Meghan, which won't work. And it's sad, but that's the life they chose. And so this is where we are. The Sussexes have eased on into their next chapter with Elevance on Disney Plus and a new charity name, that name being Archwell. And the rest of the so-called royals are coming out of hiding and revealing who we always knew them to be. Backstabbers in cahoots with the press, yes. They're all giving interviews in their living rooms, and you guessed it, thugs like Piers Morgan are sitting down speaking with them, or at least virtually. While KP is straight up stealing Harry and Meghan's initiatives from 2017. Or Harry's initiatives, right? Harry's the one that created that in 2017. But we've always known thugs and thieves were in bed with each other, so they're just deciding to open the blinds and let us see. That's all. And in the words of Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, believe them. Harry and Meghan knew who they were. They knew what the family was. And well, we see how far Harry and Meghan went to get away from the toxic terror of the royal family. So congrats to them. And I mean that. Congrats to them. And I hope they're able to breathe a sigh of relief, fresh air. They have clear minds, clear hearts, knowing they did everything that was asked of them and beyond, but they just couldn't make it work for their family, and family must come first. So good on them for being an example, and congrats to them for finding their peace, because that's priceless. And it ain't worth your life. It ain't worth your mental health. So stay tuned, guys. I'll be making lots of short form content. I know I've been saying that. Now I'm finally able to do it, more or less. But yeah, definitely tune in. I've actually not been the best lately. I've been sort of feverish and anxious with the, coronavirus, like a lot of people have. And I'm not someone who shares a whole lot of personal stuff on here, but like I've been depressed and kind of bored and, sometimes lonely and just generally disgusted with the way that this whole thing has been handled in my country. But, that said, it's important to check in and just to let you guys know that I'm thinking about you. And I hope you're all well. I hope you're all safe and you're able to get the things that you need for yourself and for your families and for your neighbors. And so, emerging from the lockdowns and the quarantines, it will be interesting. And I think it'll change how we all do business, both with one another and the way that we do interact with the community. And so, I look forward to that and the positives that do come from that, hopefully that come from that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for now. Guys, make sure you support Archie Day, which is a fundraising initiative running from April 6th to May 6th, which is Archie's first birthday. I believe so far we've raised over $20,000 for various charities related to the COVID-19 crisis, children's charities. And that's quite a remarkable thing. So make sure you check out Archie Day on Twitter. I believe they're on Instagram as well. And check out Elephants. It's on Disney Plus if you haven't already. Most of you guys probably have, but it's such a great documentary. It's a wonderful documentary. Nature documentary is always great to watch with the family, and it's kid friendly, and it's really just so adorable and cute. So watch it. Enjoy it. I've watched it a couple of times, so definitely support the Queen, narrated by Meghan. So check that out. Let's take care of ourselves and each other. And until next time, peace.